Hi everyone. We meet again in topic 2 for unit 4, which is cleaning agents. For specific learning outcomes. The first one is to describe the properties used in each agent for cleaning, disinfection, and sterilization products. And number 2, explain the use of appropriate agent for appropriate procedure. All right, so let's look at the definition of some of the jargons that we're going to use over and over again in this topic or unit and beyond. Okay, so let's look at the antiseptic. Antiseptic is the chemical agent that is applied to living tissue, okay, to kill microbes. And note that not all disinfectants are antiseptics because antiseptics must be not so harsh that it damages living tissue. So it is less toxic than disinfectant used on inanimate objects. So because of this, can be less active in the destruction of normal and any pathogenic flora present. All right. So normally antiseptic can be used on our skin. All right. So antiseptic is safe to be used on the skin and it's not gonna cause any harm to our skin. So antiseptic mostly used on the skin. All right, what is disinfectant? So disinfectant is a larger what we call this term that we use for any germicide. A germicide that inactivates virtually all recognized pathogenic microorganisms, but not necessarily all microbial forms. They may not be effective against bacterial spores. So that is disinfectant. And then what is germicide? So germicide is an agent that destroys microorganisms, particularly pathogenic microorganisms. So germicide is another terms under disinfectant. Okay. So sometimes people use germicide, sometimes people use disinfectant. So we regularly use disinfectant, right? And then there's another one, biocide, which is substance to or chemical that kills biological organisms. Okay, biological organisms. All right, and the last one is biocidal. So active substances and preparation which serve to repel, render harmless, or destroy chemically or biologically harmful organisms. All right, so these are the what we call this terminology that you will find or may find in some of the articles that provided to you or on your own reading. But for the purpose of our lectures and throughout this what we call this MOOC series, we will probably use more disinfectant and antiseptic. Okay, so I'm just introducing you other definitions or other terminology for germicide, biocide, and biocidal, just in case if you found it anywhere in your readings. Okay. All right. So looking at two things now, cleaning agents and disinfectants. Okay, what are the cleaning agents available? So if you go to the supermarket, you will find a lot of cleaning agents being sold for many functions. Okay. However, these cleaning agents are actually based on several chemicals or active ingredients. Okay, so these are the types of cleaning agents available, which is acid cleaners, alkalis, organic solvents, water, detergents, abrasives, degreasers, and others. Okay, so these are the types that you may find in the supermarket when you go shopping. Okay. All right, so what are the differences between this type of products, and when we choose a cleaning product or we call cleaner, it aids in soil removal. But when we choose a sanitizer, for example, nowadays hand sanitizer are very popular. So it reduces the number of bacteria, lowers the number of bacteria on surfaces to levels that are considered safe by public health organizations. Whereas disinfectant is higher degree than sanitizer, which is kills fungi, bacteria, and viruses. For viricide, it kills viruses, and for sterilant, it eliminates all fungi, bacteria, viruses, and spores. All right, so these are the jargons again that I'm just going to introduce you. Some of you might not understand much on the cleaner, what's the difference between cleaner, sanitizer, and disinfectant, but over the time, when we talk about this more and more, you will probably grasp the concept of cleaning agent, sanitizing, or disinfection, and also sterilization. Okay, all right, let's look at the disinfectants. What are the properties for disinfectants? We are looking at mode of action, efficacy, and spectrum of activity. So any disinfectant, the properties we're talking about is the mode of action, efficacy, and spectrum of activity. And for the efficacy of any disinfectant that we buy in the market, we need to see whether they are bactericidal or fungicidal or virucidal or sporicidal or inclusive of everything. Say okay. So if they are if they have all four of these, they are very efficient. Okay, and every disinfectant also have a different concentration and contact time. For example, if you buy your hand sanitizer, the main the active ingredient or the main content is actually the alcohol. Okay, that's why we call alcohol hand rub. um, the content of alcohol, the concentration of the alcohol normally is between 60% to 80%, so that is the concentration, okay, here. And then what is the contact time? So if you have seen our videos about cleaning the hands. So for alcohol hand rub, normally you will see the suggested time to do this is at least 20 seconds. Okay, at least 20 seconds. Some products or some disinfectants, they do have instructions, so read instructions of the contact time that you need to use. All right, so usually based on the manufacturer recommendation. All right, so now we have looked at the disinfectants properties and how to know whether it is efficient or not. We are looking at these factors: bactericidal, fungicidal, virucidal, and sporicidal. And it can be more efficient if we follow, if they have a right concentration and if we follow the contact time recommended by the manufacturer. All right, let's move on to the active chemicals. We're looking at the chemical that they are using, the spectrum of activity, can they cover everything, and what is the chemical nature of disinfectant chosen, and mode of action. Okay, so these three things dictates whether they have a good active chemicals or not. So the one that I mentioned to you just now, the active chemical for most of the disinfectant for hand sanitizer that we usually buy in the shops, or the alcohol, okay, and isopropyl alcohol or something else. All right, so these are the properties that it's contribute these efficacy of the disinfectant. Okay, all right, so let's look at this table. Don't worry about this table much, just to give you some ideas about the different disinfectants available. If you can see at the top row there, they have alcohol, they have alkali, aldehydes, they have oxidizing agents, which is the halogens, chlorine, iodine, and peroxygen compounds. They do have phenols as well. And then the last one is quaternary ammonium compounds. Okay, so the one that I just mentioned to you on previous slide was alcohol. So they use isopropanol or even ethanol. Okay, so the mechanism of action for the alcohol is actually denature the lipids and precipitates proteins. So it is actually fast acting, rapid evaporation, leaves no residue, and can swell or harden rubber and plastic. So it's not good to be used with a plastic, okay, or with your gloves. All right, so you cannot use hand rub while you are wearing gloves. All right, so there are others. You may read this table on your own, and you can see as you go move down the table, you can see alcohol actually works against as a bactericidal, virucidal, fungicidal, tuberculocidal, and but not the sporicidal. Okay, whereas alkali is actually almost everything similar to the rest. Okay, but normally we use alcohol as a disinfectant for our hand sanitizer. All right, let's move on. All right, so this is just again the examples of disinfectants, which categorize into three activity levels that you can see here: intermediate, high to intermediate, intermediate to low, and then the low ones. Okay, so just showing you the product. You might recognize some of the products, you know, Clorox, one of the common one, betadine, that you might found this in the pharmacy or in the supermarket. Okay, and you probably notice Lysol is here too. So these using a different types of disinfectants. Okay, so for alcohol, the recommended concentration that should be used is 70%. So whenever you buy your hand sanitizer products, please do look at the alcohol content inside it. It should be around 70% at least. Okay, 70% at least to make it work. All right, to make it work. All right, so as you go along, you can see what is the value or concentration for each of the products below. All right, so let's move on. Just again, just to show you the summary of disinfectants and antiseptics. So again, all these familiar names for you now appears. All right, so don't worry about this diagram much, just to show you how, I mean, there's a lot more disinfectants available. All right, and you can see the common agents here. Alcohol, I did highlight it again. For isopropanol is 70%. For ethyl alcohol or ethanol is 80%. So the one I mentioned just now was 70%. 70%. So it has to be 70% at least based on the manufacturer recommendation and also the study done before. So percentages greater than 70% are more likely to be flammable if greater than 70%, all right? And percentages less than 70% are less likely to be effective. So normally we use 70%, okay? But if you do choose 90% or higher, it will be evaporated too quickly, thus not meeting the minimum contact time required for disinfection. Means before you reach 20 seconds, all the alcohol content in the gel you use from the hand sanitizer has been evaporated, so it will be less effective. That's for alcohol. For the bleaches, chlorine, usually the contact time is at least 10 minutes. Okay, so we don't use sodium hypochlorite anymore. Why? In our dental clinic, because sodium hypochlorite solutions are corrosive to stainless steel. So some of our equipment are stainless steel, so we don't use this much. All right. So normally we use this sometimes on the floor or as a surface agent which is not made of stainless steel. Okay. And then we have chlorhexidine. Chlorhexidine is very popular in dentistry as a mouthwash as well, but chlorhexidine also can be used as a skin antiseptic, and it is active against HIV and gram-positive organisms. However, it is ineffective against non-lipid containing viruses and sporulating bacteria. It is recommended that hand wash containing chlorhexidine is used in facilities where microorganisms are cultured or used. So you can use any products that use chlorhexidine as well. Normally, people use this chlorhexidine based hand soap in operating theaters. So they use for scrubbing as well, using chlorhexidine based soap. All right, and then okay, sorry, I missed the fourth one. So the fourth one is actually the one that we use on the floor. So we don't use to clean our instruments at all. So the ammonium we use actually for cleaning products for the floors mainly and other surfaces. All right. So that's it for the cleaning agents. Hopefully you have some ideas of the cleaning agents because it's very important for you to understand this before we move on to other topics. All right. Thank you.